So I may be a bit too excited about Hedera going into 2025. If you don't know, Hedera is going to have a completely new direction. DeFi applications will be coming to Hedera. Tokenization applications will be coming to Hedera, as well as artificial intelligence tools will be making their way to Hedera. And to put the icing on the cake, we also have to look forward to advancements in digital identity. Not to mention, we'll also have new leadership in the form of Charles Atkins. So, in this episode, what we're going to do is get an idea of what Hedera will look like in 2025. Because even though the foundation has told us what the new direction will be, you won't really understand the full picture until you have an idea of the players who have been in position for years that helped brought this to reality. Now, before we get into this deep, y'all know what time it is. My name is Wade, and you're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. Me, I've been in this space since 2019, and I have researched over 1,000 digital assets. And even though I've narrowed my focus a bit, my number one reason for sitting here in front of this camera is to make you better at blockchain. The only thing I ask in return, you hit that like button. But please, will somebody in the back tell them it ain't for me. This is for crypto. And in return, I got something special for you. DHN Blockchain Starter Kit for 2025. This is the revamped version of the DHN Crypto Starter Kit. This is the starter that I want you to have going into 2025. A lot of the information is the same with additional links this time. There are links to all of my socials, as well as links to various ecosystems that you can use to explore the crypto space. Something that is new in this starter kit is the adoption model. I created a visual for us to understand blockchain adoption. It's a 3-piece system where an independent entity contracts a third party. That third party is often a tech provider or knows one. That tech provider, they select a blockchain network, and then an application is born. I wanted to simplify that for you because going forward, this next run will be based on utility, and you'll see this everywhere, and it'll come at you so fast. That is why I have this here. And again, one more thing I added, organizations to follow. This will be very important, and I've sorted it by country. You can explore those as well as news and analytics outlets. Again, guys, I've been in this space for so many years, and I wish I came across one of these influencers that put everything that they know in a 3-page PDF and made it free. So, with that, check the link in the description as well as the pinned comment, and let's get started here. So, a new chapter. Charles Atkins appointed as CEO. Now, because we covered this story, we're just going to run through the details really quickly. Starting January 1st, the HBAR Foundation will no longer be known as the HBAR Foundation. It will be called the Hedera Foundation. And the new CEO will be Charles Atkins. He used to be the CEO of Hedera Hashgraph LLC, which is the Texas-based company that we are all familiar with. Prior to that, he used to work for Polygon as well as Aptos Labs, and admittedly, those two networks have a bit more recognition than Hedera. So the experience he has with those much larger networks, I expect to translate very well to Hedera going forward. Now, highlighted here, they state his leadership will be instrumental in steering Hedera Foundation towards achieving significant milestones within the Hedera ecosystem with the specific focus on AI, tokenization, and digital identity. In addition, they add Hedera Foundation will launch several initiatives to make DeFi more accessible, providing secure and straightforward tools for the management of digital assets. This is representing another pattern that I'm seeing forming in the market, especially with our favorite DLTs. It wasn't until recently that the XRP Ledger, Stellar Lumens with Sorban smart contracts, and now Hedera, and as well as Algorand, because their staking activates January 1 as well. It was a long time coming for the DLTs that we have followed to get into decentralized finance. And taking into account everything that we know about the fundamental advantages that these networks have over an Ethereum, a Solana, a Binance, or a Polygon, This is finna set the DeFi world on fire. I was just responding to an email this weekend. It was a conversation around DeFi and how to take advantage of it with assets like Stellar, XRP, Algo, and Hedera. Admittedly, as of right now, there was no real place, trusted place to get a return on holding assets like XRP, Stellar, and Hedera. In 2025, ladies and gentlemen, this is what this means here. In 2025, we will start seeing DeFi applications on Hedera, on XRP, on Stellar, on Algorand, similar to what we see on Solana, Ethereum, and Polygon, Optimism, and Binance. Now, if you don't know what those ecosystems look like, take a look at any analytics source. CoinMarketCap, DeFi Llama, RWA.xyz. You'll see the concentration of DeFi activity are on Ethereum, Solana, and Binance. But the problem is people got to go through all this extra drama to get the benefit. That does not exist on Hedera, on Ripple, on Stellar. All the more reason why I may be a bit too excited about 2025 when it comes to our digital assets. Now, this highlighted portion here in this green piece, I highlighted because I remember when grants from the HBAR Foundation were under a lot of scrutiny because we couldn't exactly verify where that money was going and what it was being used for. They plan on fixing that by introducing by starting the development of a transparent on-chain grant management platform. This will empower the Hedera community to participate directly in the funding process. This is something I haven't seen before. It does remind me, though, of how Algorand does its governance on its network, where if you hold any amount of Algorand, you can go to a website, a forum, and contribute to the discussion on the development of Algorand. A lot of networks let people do this, but not many people take advantage of it. With Hedera making that public facing, more transparent, that will increase recognition of Hedera. It will also increase respect because they're putting a grant system, something that is typically closed off, on a public stage. That can't go wrong, in my opinion. Now, some of those grants will be centered around developer ecosystem, a certain H prize that will be awarded to, I guess, the applications that bring in the most activity. But highlighted here is DeFi apps focused on supporting high utility decentralized applications and DeFi solutions. Right now, the leading DeFi protocol on Hedera is SaucerSwap, hands down. Another option, and I've covered this option extensively over the last few years, it's Hashpack. Now, with these two protocols, SaucerSwap is the desktop DeFi protocol that you can use. With Hashpack, there's a desktop version, but there's also a mobile application where you can do certain DeFi activities. Right now, it's only restricted to staking Hedera at the 2.5%. With SaucerSwap, the returns get a little bit higher, but the problem with that is the interface. For people who aren't familiar with crypto, it will be difficult for them to take advantage of that. The Hashpack is a bit easier. There are also walkthroughs within the Hashpack to show you how to stake as soon as you set up your wallet. So the increased focus on DeFi apps on Hedera will address that problem of user interface, and will also improve upon the compatibility between a Hashpack and a SaucerSwap, or a Blade wallet and a HBAR suite. These are different DeFi protocols that up until this point weren't getting a lot of traction, with their focus being DeFi apps, and as the second highlight shows, integrations and services. This will boost Hedera's interoperability with other platforms and related services that will help the network scale and run smoothly. To that point specifically, Hedera extended their relationship with Chainlink Labs. We've covered this before. Pretty much all of Chainlink's technology, their data feeds, their proof of reserves, their cross-chain interoperability protocol will now be able to be used on Hedera. And when I tell you, and you can look this up for yourself, there is a large percentage of this DeFi market that lives and breathes on Chainlink. Without Chainlink's price or data feeds and proof of reserves, a lot of DeFi protocols wouldn't exist, especially a lot of them that are dominating Ethereum. So you can look at it like this. Chainlink was Ethereum's secret weapon for scalability. Now that weapon can be adopted by Hedera. So when it comes to improving DeFi capabilities on Hedera, they got the #1 ally in the form of Chainlink. Just to expand things a bit more, XRP is doing the same thing with the Flare network. What'll happen if the Flare network decides to have a conversation with Hedera? Then there's no stopping us at that point, folks. Obviously, that's not based on anything. It's just a theory. But what if? So they have Chainlink, #1 leader when it comes to fortifying your DeFi protocol. Right? Now let's go back over here. I hope you guys understand the importance of DeFi coming to Hedera, matched with its speed and scalability that we all know it has as an advantage over these other networks. But then there's the conversation of artificial intelligence, right? So there was a company building on Hedera called Equity Lab, or EQTY, in case I'm not pronouncing it right. And in December 18th, they hit us with this surprise. Equity Lab's verified compute brings trust to AI with Hedera. In collaboration with Intel and NVIDIA, Equity Lab unveiled verifiable compute. Now, verifiable compute, I can explain to you like this. Wherever AI gets its information from, that's called verified compute. The data pool, the source of that information, needs to be stored somewhere safely. Verified compute allows the supporting data for the AI model to be stored on blockchain. This is a first of its kind. And it also lends to what their mission for 2025 is going to be by incorporating artificial intelligence as well as improving connectivity between Hedera and other networks. Artificial intelligence, I got some numbers here, guys. Some numbers and some stats. Let's start with the stats here first, okay? Artificial intelligence, well, not stats, facts. Artificial intelligence can significantly improve DeFi by enhancing risk management, optimizing trading strategies, automating processes, identifying potential vulnerabilities in smart contracts, providing personalized investment advice, be careful with that one, and improving fraud detection through analyzing large data sets and identifying suspicious patterns. Another thing I want you to understand, and this is something that actually we just went over in our members section. We covered this PDF. Tokenization 101. Link to it will be in the description and the pinned comment. You can download this, have everything you need to know about tokenization in 6 pages. But the point I'm making here is, with this PDF, you'll also understand that AI, DeFi, and tokenization, they're one and the same. They're 3 sides to the same triangle. Because as we just read, we see artificial intelligence can significantly improve DeFi by enhancing risk management, optimizing trading strategies, auditing smart contracts, improving liquidity, detecting fraud, and boosting efficiency. But what do the numbers suggest? Well, according to Statista, AI tool users, which is the term that this would fall under, the verified compute, by 2030, man, we're looking at over 700 million people using AI tools. Over just the next 2 years, looking at the bull market, 2025, 378 million. By 2027, 500 million people over the next 24 months. The timing of what Hedera is doing could not be more perfect. It could not be more perfect. But now we got to bring up the tokenization side, because there are also overlaps between tokenization and DeFi. Like I said, Tokenization is the extension of DeFi. DeFi is the extension of blockchain utility that people will come to know and love. It'll be the household thing related to blockchain. But the benefits of tokenization in DeFi, again, include increased liquidity, fractional ownership, transparency and security, and reduced intermediaries. So this is the landscape that Hedera is setting up with the incorporation of Equity Labs, verified compute, with the incorporation of chain links, data feeds, proof of reserves, as well as their CCIP. And there's another leg to this that they mentioned. They called it digital identity, right? Well, one thing here, just real quick, tokenization market size, 21.5% annual growth rate projected to 2032. That just shows you this market ain't going nowhere. Now, we were talking about digital identity, where they were talking about digital identity as being the next leg up for Hedera in 2025. So obviously that had me doing some digging because it had been a while. I found this document from 2020. You see the what's they call that? Letterhead, Hashgraph, decentralized identity, trusted and private identity, credentials. So one thing I want you to understand, when you hear digital identity, it isn't just you. It isn't just identifying people. Digital identity can also be applied to an ecosystem of products. And that's very relevant to Hedera because they have relationships with companies like SKUX. Now, although it isn't been written yet, their angle on digital identity in relation to SKUX. There's another company building on Hedera that gives us an example of what I'm getting at here. This is Mayo. It's founded on the synergy of heritage and innovation, connects any physical item to its digital identity through the implementation of blockchain technology. That chain is Hedera. So what Mio does using Hedera's technology is attaches a unique identifier, a digital identifier, to a piece of clothing, shoes, underwear, what have you. When a person goes to buy that item, there's a QR code attached to the tag. You know, we all familiar with tags, right? You scan that QR code, though, you get information about the material of that piece of clothing, where that material was sourced from, the factory that the material was sourced from, the transporter that took the material from the factory to the distributor that essentially was responsible for where you bought it from. It may seem like a lot, but you also have to understand here that it isn't just us interested in these things. I was reading a lot about Gen Z and their habits towards technology and their opinions on this digital transformation. This falls right up their alley of wanting to know everything about everything all at once. Okay? That's the easiest way to simplify it. But point is, when it comes to digital ID, it's not just with people. And Hedera leaned into that as early as 2020. Another popular company on Hedera, Atma.io. They were the originators of essentially of what Mio is doing, where I believe reports indicated in 2020 or 2021, Atma.io had attached digital identifiers to over 1.5 billion articles of clothing. Records of those items are on the Hedera blockchain to this day. So a lot of people give the Atma Hedera relationship flack, but you have to understand, folks, these things take time. People still give us crap about Bitcoin being a scam. We got to get them past Bitcoin being a scam first before they can truly appreciate things like this. So going into 2025, the focus for Hedera will be artificial intelligence, tokenization, as well as decentralized finance and decentralized identity. 4 things that can also be blended together to create a financial juggernaut, a technological powerhouse. This is what I'm seeing here. Because when you break down these sectors individually, they have essentially defined the Web3 space. Now we're starting to see experienced networks that have been on the market showcasing the ability to blend these things together. That's why I love being in this space, man. Now, when it comes to digital identity and people, Hedera has been doing their thing on that as well. You can see here the digital identity builders on the network that may focus more so on the people side. You have Aid Tech, which, thanks to our research on Stellar, we know that deals with aid disbursement affecting people in war-torn areas, people who have suffered from climate disasters, things like that. Then you have Meko, which is something similar to that, more so geared at payments. ServiceNow, digital identity when it comes to people in the workplace, employees. So a digital identity system for your employees. And then you got Standard Bank, which that goes into the tokenization, digital ID in relation to tokenization of real world assets through purchases using stablecoins, which when it comes to DeFi, ladies and gentlemen, a stablecoin is the heartbeat of DeFi. That is what we are going into. So with Hedera having a stablecoin studio, I mean, how many more boxes do you want me to check off here? How many more boxes do we need to check, folks? And then there's this one here. Earth ID. Man, look. Okay, so I'm not quite sure how big this company is, but I just want to know why these are their partners, okay? So you got a ICCA, World Class Culinary Group. They actually recently this year decided to add their documentation credentials on Earth ID, which runs on Hedera. Then you got London and Partners. But then NASCOM here, that is a deep tech company that is also working with Algorand in the realm of quantum computing. Quantum blockchain, ladies and gentlemen. And then you got GBA here, Euro Yen Group, Fujitsu, Tech Mahindra. Pretty big companies here, guys. GBA, Softcare, that's your healthcare. And don't think digital identity, healthcare, gonna go hand in hand, as well as tokenization will go hand in hand. And if you throw over artificial intelligence to improve the recommendations on which health decisions you should make, bam, it pulls it all together. Not to mention, I've also seen this too. There are certain Web3 applications under the X to earn category. Shout out to No BS Crypto for that one. Where, depending on the decisions you make regarding your health, you can get certain tokens as a reward. There's your DeFi element right there. So, guys, again, when it comes to Hedera for 2025, I might just be a bit too excited. But I don't care because I'm going all in. Absolutely going all in. This pump was nice over the last few months, but I promise you, we ain't finished yet. A lot of people are calling for the super cycle. I haven't fully gotten behind that yet. I'm leaning on the 4-year cycle still being in place because this would be the 4th halving, if I'm not mistaken. But already the market behavior of Bitcoin is resembling the 2020 run, the bull run that kept me in crypto. And if that's the case, much like 2021, we just did not stop. 2025 is going to be that same. It's going to be the same way. So with that, guys, make sure you download your DHN Starter Kit for 2025. It'll give you everything you need to know to be a savage, to get better at blockchain in just 3 pages. All right. You'll get your 5 verticals of blockchain, enterprise, macro level, emerging technologies, gaming, DeFi. These are what is coming from this industry right now. You get the adoption model to understand how these relationships form. You also get a criteria for evaluating assets. I know we like to talk about the new financial system here, but this criteria, you can use it to research any asset you want. I'll never tell you to buy any of the assets that we talk about because that's our conversation. We are all a collection, a committee of investors investing in the next generation of financial tools. But there are other assets in the space, meme tokens, gaming projects, strictly AI, your DPIN. It don't matter. If they don't fall into that criteria, don't expect them to accrue any value. Links to blockchain networks, organized by sector. It'll give you exposure to an ecosystem so that way you can watch how it lives and breathes, as well as organizations to follow, sorted by country, Federal Reserve, CFTC, NIST, when it comes to quantum computing and the improvement of DeFi, blockchain, AI, all of those things from a technological perspective. NIST is the organization in the United States that will mandate everything. They'll set the standards. Europe, same story. These organizations are pushing the needle forward. I added that so that way you know when you hear these names and when you see these names, you know what they mean and what they're doing. And then lastly, news and analytics outlets. News is on the right, analytics on the left. Guys, I'm so glad that I was able to put this together for you. This will be our sword going through 2025. So with that, that's all I got for this one. Again, get your DHN starter kit because if the money is digital, so is the hustle.